Gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Ridgecrest City Council. I'd like to thank everyone who's here with us this evening. We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order with roll call.
Mayor Bruin,
Here.
Mr. Blades,
Present.
Mr. Rajaratnam,
Present.
Mr. Heyman. I'm
Present.
sorry, my computer started making noise and it usually doesn't make noise, so I'm not really sure what's happening here. Mr. Gorman.
Present.
5 ayes, motion carries. I'm going to fix this.
5 ayes, all present.
All present. There you go.
This is, Sherry, this is all your fault. This new command is the problem. Okay. Next is our approval of our agenda. Do I have any amendments to the agenda as presented?
None for me.
Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second. Please vote.
5 ayes, motion carries.
Fantastic. If I can ask everyone to please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Scott, where are you?
Oh, I just stepped out.
He stepped out. Okay, Captain, you're gonna lead for us.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Councilman Rajaratnam, if you'd lead us in the invocation, please.
Please join me in prayer if you would. Lord, thank you for giving us this day. Thank you for this town which we live and cherish. Lord, I pray for our country. Bless this country. Let this country be a beacon of hope for many countries, Lord. Pray for the leadership. Give them your guidance. I pray for the two troops who are in harm's way. Lord, protect them from all evil. I pray for our Ridgecrest Police Department. Lord, protect them as their lives are online all the time. Lord, thank you for the service which they provide to this community. Lord, bless their families and protect them always, Lord. Pray for the city council. Lord, give them your wisdom. Lord, may we always put the interest of this community and the service of this community on top of anything, Lord. Bless each one of us who are here today. In Jesus' precious name I pray.
Amen.
Amen.
If I can ask the council to join me at the podium, we have a few presentations for our guests.
Okay. Okay, it's my honor tonight to bring to you a proclamation for the City of Ridgecrest, California, Kern County Grand Jury Awareness Month. Whereas the grand jury is one of the oldest government institutions in our jurisprudence and devised to check the excesses of the English monarchy and to ensure the rights of the accused, and whereas the California Constitution, adopted in 1879, provided that a grand jury shall be drawn and summoned at least once a year in each county. And whereas the California grand jury is an arm of the Superior Court. And whereas the grand jury acts as the public's watchdog by investigating and reporting on affairs of local government and recommending ways local governments can be more effective, transparent, accountable. And whereas the Kern County grand jury is a body of 19 citizens and it is a diverse group of men and women with a wide range of backgrounds and interests, and whereas the grand jurors make a commitment to serve a minimum of 20 hours per week for a term of 12 months, and whereas a new grand jury is impaneled in June of each year. Now, therefore, the Ridgecrest City Council hereby proclaims February 2024 to be Kern County Grand Jury Awareness Month and encourages all citizens to consider volunteering for the Kern County Grand Jury, proclaimed this 7th day of February 2024. Signed by our Mayor Eric Bruin, Vice Mayor Kyle Blades, Mayor Pro Tem Solomon Rajaratnam, myself, and Councilman Skip Gorman.
Thank you, Doc. Yay! We like the grand jury.
We love the grand jury. Okay, so it's my honor to step in and read the proclamation from the City of Ridgecrest for the Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month. Whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Law was created in 2001 with the intent to save the lives of newborn infants at risk of abandonment by encouraging parents or persons with lawful custody to safely surrender the infant within 72 hours of birth with no questions asked. And whereas since 2006, the Safely Surrendered Baby Law has saved 98 infants in Kern County and placed them in loving homes. And whereas in Ridgecrest and throughout Kern County, a newborn baby can be safely surrendered into the hands of any hospital emergency room or fire station staff. And whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition, under the coordination of the Department of Human Services, works to educate Ridgecrest citizens and all Kern County residents about this important law. The coalition is made up of a small group of dedicated individuals representing a long list of agencies, nonprofits, hospitals, and stakeholders, including First 5 Kern, Ridgecrest Regional Medical Center, Kern County Fire Department, Kern Medical, Mercy and Memorial Hospitals, and Adventist Health, to name a few. Now therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, does hereby proclaim the month of February as Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month, and encourages all Ridgecrest citizens to reach out and assist the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition with their endeavors, proclaimed this 7th day of February 2024 by Mayor Eric Bruin, Mayor Pro Tem Solomon Rajaratnam, Mr. Scott Heyman, and Mr. Skip Gorman, and myself. Thank you.
Is there somebody from the organization? Okay. Okay, did we have somebody from either of the organizations here? Yeah. Please, I know, where are you? Come here. Is there somebody from the grand jury also? Yeah, we're way away from them.
So who would like to?
Over there, or
Do you want to maybe
There or there?
stand in front?
over there. I have one more presentation that is not strictly on the agenda, but there seems to be a crowd of our finest in the back room who knows what's going on. And that is that today, February 7th, marks 7 days before we have to say goodbye to our interim. And that would be our interim chief, Mr. Ron Scott. So, Mike Scott. Well, I said Ron Scott. I meant that. Sorry, come here, Mike. I just call them chiefs. Come up here, Mike. So, I always say that Ridgecrest is always at its best when Ridgecrest starts to take care of itself. It's always something I've always said. And when one of our own, and former Chief McLaughlin had medical issues that required him to have his life and his time away from the department. And Chief Scott was recruited to come in and take charge of some things. And I can still remember, I believe it was your first week, or had you even physically started before Hillary hit? The day before. It was the day before. So Hillary came the day before, and there's Mike sitting there in our command center with the officers, ready to get engaged and get out there and do everything possible to turn what turned out to be a 1,000-year event into just a moment of shine for our community. And then when it rains, my favorite thing is people go, yeah, you guys did a really good job. There's no more flooding. Well, there better not be flooding. There's not 5.5 inches of rain falling. Wherever we're doing, we better have done it right. And I just know that first day, I knew you were going to be here and take charge of what you could. Now, for those that don't understand, Chief can't stay here forever because he has retired and he came in an interim way to help support us. And now through this time, he's been able to help support us while we are out actively seeking our next police chief. So on behalf of the Ridgecrest City Council, all of your officers and the citizens of Ridgecrest, I just want to say thank you for stepping in. Thank you for taking charge for the 6 months that we needed that help. And I can't say enough, you always have a place here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm not a speaker.
Speech. This is where you say good to your
No,
officers.
yes, I know. I know. Yeah, it's funny that you always give the chief recognition when you know it's not the chief. It's the guys in the trenches that do all the work.
Life-saving awards.
Yes, yes. Been a very invigorating 6 months. The guys have done an outstanding job that I'm here. I'm sorry I'm leaving. I really enjoyed my time, but unfortunately I can't stay just because of the way the retirement system is set up. But, I mean, they're the ones that make the job easy. I just sit behind the desk, do the paperwork, so thanks. We'll see you guys soon. I'm not going anywhere. I live here, so.
You gotta do at least one picture.
You guys want to come down for a picture?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, one picture.
Oh, we wouldn't fit back there with that crowd.
Well, you know, we got you, didn't we?
Those in front kneel. The guy needs to lay down.
I like that better.
Yeah, right.
I need to see faces. No, I can't get back. Lloyd, you can't hide that. You don't need me. Come on, Lloyd. Find a place. There you go. Okay, everybody, here we go. 1, 2. Such a weed. We figured if we moved the guy and hit his face more. That's pretty good, Aaron, that you can make Kelly back there. Everybody, be real still, don't move.
Oh, wow.
Chief, thank you again for all of your service. We appreciate you. And I realize I made that mistake, but it's just because I'm a fan of The Office. I'm sure you hear that all the time.
I do. Let me use my credit card.
Oh, God. Don't only imagine. Oh, thank you. Okay. And on with the rest of the show. Next item on our agenda this evening is our public comment. Public comment is items not on the agenda, persons wishing to address the council on matters that are within the council's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Council will not respond to any public comments but may provide direction to staff to collect information. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not act on any item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes, and the public comment section of the agenda is limited to 1 hour. Each speaker is asked to provide his or her name, and we will begin with public comments from the floor. Is there any public comment from the floor?
Hello, my name is Robert Blackwell, and I'm a representative of the Kwaisu tribe. They are the local tribe that historically has been living in the Ridgecrest area for over 10,000 years. Maybe a month and a half ago, I reached out to the city council and the tribe did, and to the city, and requested that the city work with the tribe to look at some of the public art that the natives found offensive, a lot of the petroglyph-like art, and that was basically posted throughout the city in a lot of public areas that the tribe found objectionable, and more importantly, was put up without the authorization of the tribe. This isn't a court of law, so we're not going to get into all the legal issues, but the world is changing very fast. The issues related to protecting Native art, Native religion, and Native property is evolving. Things that were done 10, 15 years ago are not unacceptable today. And again, the tribe is reaching out to the city council and the city to look at these issues. More importantly, since the city did not respond to our request to do a survey of the art on city property, the tribe has gone ahead and posted public cease and desist on various pieces of art that the tribe found objectionable since they had no input from the city. That has been completed. There is one last objection. Again, since the city failed to respond in any substantive manner to our response, we thought it's important to, in addition, over the last week, the tribe has submitted to the city and the city council a request that Councilman Gorman be disqualified from any issues related to the Kwaisu tribe or any Native art. California has some very strict restrictions on conflict of interest. We believe, and we have information, that Councilman Gorman over the last 15 years has made a lot of money selling art to the city or city-related agencies. So what I have is a copy of those letters that we've submitted to the city, but we wanted to make sure that every council member had a copy. In addition to that, the tribe has submitted a Freedom of Information Act, or that's the federal statute, but California has a different statute, California Public Records Act information. The tribe is trying to understand where the money came from. There's a lot of money spent by the city on fake plagiarized art that has been placed throughout city property. Similar documents been filed by a number of federal different agencies, including Kern County, the Water District. So we wanted to basically provide that to the city council at this time. The tribe does not seek confrontation with the city, nor does it, or the city council. But the impression of the community has been very positive toward the concerns that the local natives have raised. Our impression of the city is it wants to stonewall the issue and not address the issue. We think that's a very significant mistake. We believe that continued stonewalling will probably lead to litigation, which is totally unnecessary. But we also believe that this is an educational process. Most of the businesses in town understand this issue and have come around. So what I want to do is offer an invitation to each of the council members to a discussion of the petroglyphs and its importance in relation to the Kwaisu tribe. So, and it's the 25th of February.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment from the
you.
floor? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Troy Frazier. 5 times 9 or 90 divided by 2. If you don't know that number, then you don't need to know how old I am. Honor to Mayor Bruin and our clerk, Rika Charlon, and the rest of the council members. Valentine's Day is in 7 days. I have good news and bad news. First, just a little fact. Every presidential year is leap year. We have February 29th this month. Does anybody know why? Because there's 365.25 days a year, 6 extra hours. So 6 times 4 gets an extra day every 4 years. And the good news is I'm still working hard on a project at my house that's completely fuel-free. Doesn't use any water. It's going to be a machine to spin. That's all you need to do is spin to make electricity, because I don't need to redesign the alternator or generator. I'm going to solve all of our electricity problems across the country, be Ridgecrest's first mega millionaire, and maybe share profits with Ridgecrest and provide cheaper, more reliable service electricity to Ridgecrest. The worst thing that's ever happened to me my whole life is I had my niece taken away from me and my sister out of my house in Ridgecrest Heights, a house that I own that I inherited from my father 3 years ago. And the Ridgecrest Police Department facilitated in taking away my niece. All due love, respect, and appreciation to the police department here in Ridgecrest for what they do and keeping us safe and low crime and all the other situations they respond to. But this man that I never met, never seen, came from Oklahoma and claimed to be her father, and the girl was born here in Ridgecrest, and the mother is in my house taking care of her daughter and doing a good job. Doing a good job as a mother. I don't know why. One or two officers, I don't know who, 1 or 2 officers would facilitate in taking away my sister's daughter to go all the way back to Oklahoma. So, thank you for listening. And on that topic, last time I was here, I called Caltrans and they don't like to answer the phone. Thank you very much.
If you are not getting them to answer the phone, we can always, that was on the signal light at Sunland, right? The flashing? Okay. I appreciate you making the effort, and if you're not able to get the response to the citizen, we'll be happy to push it one more step, see where we can get. Okay? Thank you. Any other public comment from the floor? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment from the phones? I give it just a second so YouTube can hear that we're asking. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. We'll close our public comment section, move on with council announcements. Any council announcements, Mr. Gorman?
No.
Okay. Mr. Heyman?
None.
Mr. Rajaratnam?
First of all, I want to thank Chief Scott for stepping up when we needed him. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate your service to this community. I have known you for a long time, as long as I have lived in Ridgecrest. So you are such a nice gentleman and a police officer. Thank you. While Vice Mayor Blades was reading the proclamation for Safely Surrender Baby Awareness Month, right?
Yes, sir.
So I was listening to what he was reading, and one of the points was that since 2006, 98 babies were saved because of this law. And I made the math, like it's 17 years, 98 babies per year, it's 6 babies per year in Kern County. And my immediate reaction was, only 6 saved? I mean, there are so many babies abandoned. But when I thought about that, it struck to me that each life is very important. So you are saving a life, giving them new life, giving them new home by putting them in a loving and caring home. So really appreciate what this organization is doing for this community. I don't know if we have any cases here or not, but that is a very noble cause you guys have taken up. Really appreciate that. And I thank the emergency room, hospital emergency rooms and fire station staff for taking the lead in this matter. So thank you very much for being here, and thanks for your organization and your support. And sorry.
No, it's your chance.
That made me to think, I have attended another event last month, which is the Human Trafficking Awareness Month in January, that was hosted by Women's Center, and that was in recognition of January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. So Mayor Bruin and Council Member Gorman were also there. And during that presentation, Carol Beecraft mentioned that there were 1,330, I think.
It was 1328. I think your number's right
Something
on.
like
Your number's really, really close.
1,330 human trafficking cases in California, which accounts for 19% of the total human trafficking cases in our country. California leads the way in this crime. So sad to say that.
That was 1 year. That was 1 year.
That was in 2023. So I really appreciate the Women's Center taking lead in this case, especially Carol Beecraft and Teresa Dampier, who is a volunteer, but she is in charge of this program. I emailed back and forth with her. She shared with me so many things, how this human trafficking is being taken place. It is a sad thing. I mean, we never think that will happen in Ridgecrest, but we never know. Anything can happen. So I really want to thank and sincerely appreciate Women's Center for taking the lead in this matter. Thank you very much.
Mr. Blades.
I was going to ask for clarification. What was the issue at Sunland? At the Sunland intersection?
Sunland and where, which?
Yep.
Oh, it was the flashing sign, they replaced the stop sign without, it got, the flashy sign got hit and it didn't get replaced, if I remember correctly, right? The flashing stop sign did not get replaced. There was a flashing sign at Sunland and Ridgecrest Boulevard at one point. I think it was hit by a vehicle and damaged, and they did not replace it with a flashing sign again, which is, as I remember it, the key was that you wanted greater recognition of that intersection for its danger to the community, correct? Thank you, sir.
Cool, okay. And Chief Scott, thank you. That's all I got.
Okay.
Actually, one more. Let me go back real quick. This is
I
for.
wasn't sure if you were going to do it. So.
No. I'm not. I have nothing specific to say. This is more to address in the council, and I want the public to hear it. I have reached back out to the Mr. Laughing Horse and the Quiet Sioux Tribe. I did it some weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything back. That's not in us as a body, but it was. I have reached out. So, if nothing comes of it, nothing comes of it.
Fair enough. I just have one council comment, and that is that I wanted to jump in my time machine and go back to 2013 and probably 14, maybe
maybe even 12, maybe 11 or 12, I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure it was a Matarango Museum auction where I saw Mr. Gorman generously donate to this community his art for sale, and I gladly and proudly purchased it for my business, which means that it was all done through a business purchasing, and then you donating your time, art, and effort to this community. And I'm pretty sure it was the year after at a Rotary Dollars for Scholars auction where I purchased my second piece that you also generously donated to this community. And I'm pretty sure I bought my third piece, okay, at a Ridgecrest Autism Awareness dinner that you once again also generously donated your art and time to this community. So just to be very, very clear about how art was purchased by certain businesses, especially mine, which is not my business, I simply get the honor of running it. I'm very proud of the art that we have displayed at Desert Valleys, and I stand in appreciation of Mr. Gorman's continued donations to this community while he was a private citizen and long before he was ever a public servant. So thank you, sir. Okay, next item is our consent calendar. All items listed on the consent are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items may be approved by one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered in listed sequence, with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. I'll now read the three consent items. First item is item number 1 is proposed action to approve draft minutes of the Ridgecrest City Council regular meeting dated January 17th, 2024. Item number 2 is authorization for the city manager, Ron Strand, to sign the notice of completion for CDBG project 17.21.1. Leroy Jackson Fencing for the city clerk to file the notice of completion and for city staff to release retention in the amount of $4,792.50 to the contractor All-American Fence Erectors within 30 days after recordation of the notice of completion. And item number 3 is council's approval of remote participation by Mayor Bruin at the March 6, 2024 city council meeting. Do I have any member of the council who wishes to have an item pulled? Hearing none, do I have any member of the council of the community which would like to have an item pulled? Did I miss something?
No.
I was just joking with Rick. I wanted to pull that one for you, remote participation.
Oh, just pull number 3? I would be happy to be able to explain.
Explain yourself, sir. No.
I will be
It was a joke.
I will be packing for my return while participating in council. Is there any member of the public which wishes to have the item pulled? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second.
Please vote. We have 5 ayes, motion carries.
Fantastic. Next item is item number 6. Item number 6 is appointment of committee members to 2 committees, the existing Measure V and the newly formed Measure P committee.
So at the last meeting, we appointed quite a few members. Just to confirm, for Measure V, we have Holly Staub, Gurpreet Badran, I hope I said that correctly, Chris Hill, and Nicole Harper. And tonight, Mayor Bruin is going to reappoint.
I already twisted his arm.
Mr. Chip Holloway. And then for Measure P, at the last meeting, we had Bradley Patton, Holly Staub, Todd St. Laurent, and Denise Gorman, and then that left one spot for Mr. Heyman to make his appointment for tonight. So if you'd like to go ahead, and then we'll move forward after that.
Thank you, Rika. So yes, I'd like to introduce the council to Lydia Dixon. Lydia, if you'd like to stand up and everybody can see you. So
Thank you for your
Lydia
service.
has volunteered her time and service to the city to serve on Measure P. I've known Lydia for a very long time. Actually, she knew my father, and she has been a member of this community since 1970. She's got experience in hotel management, with finance and all aspects of the hotel. And then she also has currently worked, that was in earlier days, but she also currently works for the DOD for the past 20 years. So Lydia has been a long-standing native member of this community, and and I think she'll be a great addition to the Measure P committee, and we want to thank you. I personally want to thank you for offering your time to do this. You have no idea what it means to members like myself and the other city council members when we're seeking people to serve. And anyway, so we appreciate you greatly and welcome you. So thank you, Lydia.
Thank you for your service.
So before we move on and do a minute motion on that, I believe Mr. Rajaratnam might have something to say.
My appointee for Measure P was Todd St. Laurent. This was approved at the last meeting, but since he is here, I want to introduce to him. So Todd, can you please stand, please? So Todd works for NDTI. He is the program manager. Oh, okay, okay. But most importantly, he is a Rotarian.
I knew you were going to say Rotarian.
So he is involved in the community and he has participated in so many projects. He is ready to go. He asked me to send some information on Measure P. I sent a package to him. So he read that and he wants to jump into the committee right away. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your willingness to serve and your willingness to give your time for this community. I appreciate it.
We will need a motion and a second.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointments.
The slate of all appointments.
Yep.
Okay.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Any public comment? You're in now.
We're going to do roll call for this one. Mayor Bruin,
Aye.
Mr. Blades,
Aye.
Mr. Rajaratnam,
Aye.
Mr. Heyman,
Aye.
Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
5 ayes, motion carries.
Okay. Next item is item number 7. Item number 7 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest adopting a position description for background investigator into the classification plan. Chief, your last hurrah. Is in order to get a background check on the person to replace you.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Yep.
So historically, the Ridgecrest Police Department has not had a background investigator position. Until a couple months before I took this position, I was doing it for a couple months. Our budget does not have a adopted background investigator position, and this proposed plan requires the city authorize the adoption of this new position. So previously and currently, when you have background investigations to do, you use your staff that you have working for you. Right now, we have background investigations, or currently we've had background investigations being done by detectives, sergeants, captains, and even I have filled in to help with the backgrounds. Sometimes we look at, see whose plate is the least impacted. With over 35,000 calls for a year for service, it's pretty hard to find somebody whose plate's not filled. And it's not the best way to do it by piecemealing it, that, hey, you handle this part, I handle that part. Right now, we have 3 open positions for police officer. We just lost an animal control officer, and we have a dispatch position. I have a couple of my officers in backgrounds with other agencies. So it's kind of essential to create a background position. My goal is for this background officer to work themselves out of a job.
Mike, they need you into the mic.
Well, my
A
goal
little bit
is
closer, or pull it to you. Either way, it doesn't matter, but YouTube's not hearing you.
okay. My goal is to have this background investigator work himself out of a job. I just don't see that they're going to be without work in the next couple of years. Obviously, this position is at a much lower rate than what a sergeant, detective, captain, or myself are being paid. It gets to the point sometimes that with their plate so full that I'm having to pay overtime to get these done. Every background could take 20 to 40 hours, just depending upon where they're coming from. If they're from out of town, we have to drive out of town, we have to knock on doors. So the proposed staffing level is to add a part-time background investigator position. It's recommended that the resolution be adopted authorizing the adoption of this position as described in the attached job description. There's no direct fiscal impact, as open salary positions savings will cover the cost of this. Any questions?
None from me.
None from me.
I do have one clarification, though. I know what you're doing, so Does this position extend services to the community, or it's only for internal?
It's strictly for our positions.
Our
Yeah,
positions.
we're required by post police officer standards and training to conduct background investigations for our employees. So obviously, our most extensive would be a police officer position, but dispatch, but even animal control, we have to conduct background investigations on. Post comes down on a yearly basis and audits us. So the position, you're required to go through a class. Most of our officers have that training. And like I said, it's so time consuming. This is such a critical function, because when we get a new applicant and they want to come work for us, we want to get them hired as quickly as possible so somebody else doesn't take them.
So are there any other organizations that have this service available in our community, or?
Not in our community. We could contract out with private entities. There's some people that, some organizations or some businesses that could provide that service. Kern County Sheriff's Office has a lot of retired folks, kind of like what I was doing, that are paid, I'm not sure if they're paid salary or if they're paid hourly. But it makes more sense to be in control and have that person working for you, because not only can they do backgrounds, we can have them do other ancillary assignments, help out with training. Backgrounds, you're never going to be an even keel. You're going to be up and down with your work. So if we've got somebody in background, we're working that diligently. If things are going slow, or if they're waiting for information to come in, we can task them with other work to do.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Doc? Skip? No. Okay. Is there any member of the public which has any comment or question? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council. Do I have any other council comments, or I have a motion for approval of the resolution as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. 5 ayes, motion carries.
Next item is item number 8. This is a second reading and adoption of ordinance 24-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest adding Chapter 4 to the Ridgecrest Municipal Code regarding use of military equipment.
Mr. Mayor?
Captain Dampier.
So as we spoke last time, our wonderful state passed a law, AB 481, which requires us to provide you guys a list of all equipment that they deem is military equipment, and in appropriation and replacing, as well as annually give a report to the public of the equipment we have and what we use it for. If adopted, starting here this February, we would keep this full calendar year. So at the end of December, we'd compile a report and do the highly publicized community engagement event in January. It has to be 30 days before it comes back to you guys. After that community engagement event, we'll take any critique, any questions, anything like that. And when we bring it back to you the following February, all over again.
Just curiosity, you mentioned the highly publicized community event. I'm not asking, I don't know if you're being entirely serious or if there's a mandate for what level of participation is.
Yes.
The law simply requires that it's a publicly noticed.
That's been publicly noticed.
Yes.
Okay, just double checking. This is the way you said. I want to make sure I understood what our expectations were going to need to be.
So we'll, in January, we'll have that engagement event and respond to any questions at that time before bringing it back to you.
I was jokingly in my brain thinking, can we publicize the event by having it at the tree line and we just let the kids, just look at the armament and
You get a lot of people there.
I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Trying to have a little fun with it because the term military equipment, people instantly have it as bazookas and tanks, and that's not what this is. But they have a laundry list. If you were at the previous meeting, for anybody out there listening, there's a laundry list. It's available online if you want to see what the list looks like. We, I think, had 6
Yeah, there's 15 total equipment categories, and right now we currently occupy 5 of the 15.
But we're going to occupy a sixth, if I remember.
No, the 5th was actually the Bearcat.
The fifth was the Bearcat. Okay, sorry. So we occupy 5 of the 15 slots. Tanks are not in the slots, okay? And this is, I don't know how else to say it other than this is another beautiful example of state bureaucracy. Okay, I have no questions. Mr. Gorman?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so anybody from any questions from the, did I ask you, Kyle? I don't have any questions. I did ask you, didn't I? Didn't I look at you?
Okay. I was, it's all right. I was
He didn't
gonna,
make eye contact, apparently.
yeah, it's okay.
I wasn't used to him being here.
so
That
before the-
last meeting went so well without him that I'm just.
I know, that's actually, I was told that almost immediately after the meeting ended. It ended quickly because you weren't here.
Have you heard the
Well,
word
I'm back.
expedite?
Well, I'm back. Well, I'm back. So, no, I was going to say, I have no questions on the ordinance specifically, just that since you mentioned there are additional slots, I just hope that you, when it comes budget time, you're bringing forth any equipment that you do need.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Is there any member of the public, now that Mr. Blades, I have properly recognized him, that has any questions or comments for the council? I'll give it just a second for the phones. We did set a record the last one. We're getting pretty close here too.
Yeah, we are.
I gotta be honest here. So, just pointing that out. We'll bring it back to the council. If there's no other further council discussion, I would like to request a motion to waive reading in full of ordinance 24-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, adding Chapter 4 to the Ridgecrest Municipal Code regarding the use of military equipment.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. As soon as there we go. 5 ayes, motion carries. That was fast.
And then if I'd like to request a motion to adopt ordinance 24-01, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, adding Chapter 4 to the Ridgecrest Municipal Code regarding use of military equipment.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second.
Please vote. 5 ayes, 5 ayes, motion carries.
You're
Quick
just-
on the gun.
We are flowing there, and we almost, you don't want to break the flow. Okay, next item on our agenda is our committee reports. We will go ahead, looks like we have reports again.
We do.
So we'll begin with RACVB, Mr. Rajaratnam.
Megan's here.
Megan,
Oh, Megan's here, sorry. You snuck in.
yeah. He comes on time.
Did you want to present something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we did have our meeting on January 24th, and we did cover quite a few different topics, so I'll keep it brief and stop for questions at the end. So we did get a presentation from Chip Holloway with the Desert Empires Fairground regarding the improvements that he'd like to make to the rodeo arena. So that was pretty interesting. There's potential to increase events with those new improvements to the stalls, arenas, a vendor area, and an announcer booth. So he was presenting that to us. He's seeking funding for that project currently. So we did have a couple of issues with some missing TOT payments that are hopefully going to be resolved here in the next month or so. A lot of new movement at the California Welcome Center. There's been some improvements at that facility, including new carpet in the meeting room, and the community room has been updated, so that looks really nice as well. So they had their industry sector days held there, and we are looking to potentially host our upcoming East Kern Economic Alliance meeting at that site as well, in that bigger room. So I'm going to be working with Carrie on that. They are planning to have an open house at the Welcome Center on April 25th, 2024, in conjunction with the Visit California network. And that'll be a networking opportunity for local community leaders and hospitality partners to get together and share resources and ideas. They are also working on a lot of things behind the scenes right now, including coordination on a Ridgecrest tourism brochure that'll be shared with the local hotels and restaurants that'll highlight some of our local attractions here in Ridgecrest and the surrounding areas. We are going to be updating our bylaws this year, so that's in process. The sales at the visitor center increased, well, I shouldn't say exponentially, but significantly in December, both locals and visitors alike, so that's great. Probably a lot of holiday shopping there. There was a softball tournament held on the 27th of January, and they are coordinating with the Ridgecrest Cycle Park to work on a proposal for them to get nonprofit status. So they are helping them work through that process, and that would enable them to support additional off-road events, which would then therefore boost our tourism. Filming, we did see finally an uptick in that after the strike. So there were two big projects out at the Pinnacle area. One was a still photography and the other was an indie film. That second production had a pretty big crew for about 11 days, so that put a lot of heads in beds. And they filmed out at the railroad. So that potentially could open up that location for future projects since that went well. The STAR report, we did see a decrease in occupancy and demand, probably due to the lack of filming activity associated from the strike fallout. So we're looking to see that rebound in the next couple of months, hopefully starting in February. We did receive some correspondence from the Tunnels to Towers group. They sent us a thank you letter for the support with the Desert Empire Fairgrounds. They thought it was a huge success, and we're very happy to see the community come out and support that event. So that was pretty much everything we covered. I will pause there if there's any specific questions. One update from the chamber, which the RACVB is associated with this new Yodel calendar, which will be a new events platform that'll help keep everybody in the loop on what's going on, like our city nights, Nights on Balsam, and that should be hopefully a lot more user-friendly than the current website, and we're hopefully, they're gonna have training sessions on those towards the end of February for anybody interested to contact the chamber. And they did just publish their new directory as well, so those are just a couple last-minute chamber updates that were shared during that RACVB meeting. Any questions, comments? Concerns?
I have one question on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
So does it track military events also?
I wouldn't be able to speak to that. I'm not 100% sure. I do know that it pulls, I haven't gone to the training yet. I will be attending that towards the end of February, so I'll know a little bit more about how it specifically works. I do know that it should pull for anybody who has like their own calendar. For example, the city, we currently publish our events and things. So it should be able to pull from what we already put out and auto-populate. So it's less legwork, so to speak, in terms of
The reason I'm asking that
submitting.
question is recently there is a conflict between a packed dinner and a military ball. So both came up on March 2nd, so.
Yeah, I can't speak exactly to the base just because I don't know how their access and security and all that works. My assumption would be yes, if they have it published on a public forum or website, it would be able to pull that because it's shared onto a website already. So as long as it's included, it should be.
Just to jump in here, we approached Skipper on this yesterday. We believe that it'll tie into the MWR calendar effectively because MWR operates that as a digital calendar, that should be able to populate fine. Individual events like the CB's Ball that is announced 30, 45 days in advance, those are most likely not going to be on a permanent MWR calendar for avoiding some of those conflicts. And the hope is that, you know, let's all be fair to ourselves. We've all still, COVID hangover still exists in how we do things before and how we do things after. And the simple fact is that we hope that they get back into a planning mindset where we know these dates 6 months in advance, and then I think we'll start to be able to minimize. I want to give kudos just while we're here. I know this is off topic, but you know, the city of Ridgecrest already has showed me and provided me their entire calendar for events for the year. And like last year where we were just starting out our events and trying to pick days and we had more than a few obstacles that we hit. We're trying to get that out there faster. So I think MWR will be fine. And I think that if we can get base administration for those important events like the Navy Ball, CB's Ball, change of command, things like that, that they really want to make sure that we're not interceding, but MWR should be there.
And I believe that's why the chamber's offering these training opportunities for these organizations. So that way, if there's any specific questions like, okay, this event may not be auto-populated, is there a way I can manually submit it? Or so I think all that will be covered as we get into the training. So I'll have more information and updates on you at the next report.
Yeah, just on a business side note, one of the things I've already talked to Rebecca about is, like, my business does not have a calendar, but we have a calendar of events. And it was, well, if you go and you put this one tool on your website, okay, and then you load into that site, all we have to do then is you just load into that site, it's going to auto-populate to the community. okay, I got a little work to do. Got it. You know, if I want to have our events populated in that way, it makes perfect sense. And I think that's going to apply for most business. The museum will apply that. Matarango will apply that. How they Ridgecrest Library. I think all of those, if they have a digital source, then there should be a way to backlink them.
That is my understanding at this time.
Thanks, Megan.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from any other council members? I have two for you, Megan, just real quick. Sorry. Don't run away on me quite
My
yet.
bad.
The first was, and I put this out there to the community as well. If there's people that have feedback on the value of rodeo, please drop me an email and communicate it to me. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. Getting rodeo is not going to be easy, and it's going to require some substantial money for the fairgrounds, and some inputs that I could get from citizens would certainly be appreciated. The second was, you know, we might have one heck of an opportunity here to statistically get something. And I was going to hope that you could possibly work with Carrie on it. And that is that the moment you said that we're able to see a difference in the STAR report as a result of the strike, means that we have an isolated bandwidth of time in which we can probably actually really hammer down how many heads and beds filming provides this community in a statistical way. It may not be perfect, but I can take an average over a couple months and be able to really see it. Give you an example. I have a colleague that literally works in the entertainment industry, and he was telling me the impact of the strike in his business was a nearly 15% reduction in his total assets in a 1 quarter period. And I mean that, and for this institution, that was $250 million out the door in a quarter. And so I think we might have a statistical opportunity here to come back, know the date of the start of the strike, the date of the end of the strike, how many months it took for it to get back up to speed. If there's a strike again, it impacts Ridgecrest X or Y. And I think that a lot of the public knows that filming is important to our economy, but they may not quite see it from a numbers perspective. And we might have a real opportunity here to grasp some numbers. So if you could ask them to do that for the council, I think I would appreciate that. Because I just want to really, you know what the history is. You've got the before and when it's after and what it looked like the months before it and the months after it. And they can really, there's some simple analysis that, I mean, I'm talking Microsoft Excel analysis that can be done that'll tell us a lot about what's that impact. And I think I'd love to see that be
Yeah, we can scrub through some of that data,
Okay.
definitely. One thing you actually kind of reminded me, I'll mention it just because I think it's kind of exciting. Richard Chapman with the KEDC reached out looking for similar to the importance of filming to our economy here. So I connected him with Carrie, and she will be appearing as a guest on the new television series, the Business is Boundless TV YouTube series. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. She'll be making an appearance. I don't have the exact dates for when that will be released, but she'll be repping us there.
Awesome. Fantastic.
I offer this anecdote. You reminded me just now. I had occasion, I think Carrie had occasion to visit my shop recently, and I think I either pointed out to her or she noticed herself a picture of the actor Tony Shalhoub, who starred in the series Monk, about a persnickety police detective who straightened everything out and wouldn't bother with dust, and lived a very structured life. We loved the series. My sister had occasion to be at my shop, and we were chatting about this and that and what we watch on television. And I mentioned to her that we watch Monk and really like it. And she said, well, you know, I happen to live next door to one of the producers, and he'll send you an 8x10 glossy of a movie star if you want. And I insisted, yes, this is great. And indeed, a couple of weeks later, a photograph came in the mail of Tony Shalhoub, the wonderful actor, award-winning actor of Monk, and he wrote on it to Skip, See you in Ridgecrest, Tony Shalhoub. And I called my sister and I asked, why did he write that? Is he coming to Ridgecrest like Tom Cruise did? And she said, well, they're talking about filming an episode where the persnickety detective Monk must solve a crime in the nation's dustiest community. And we selected Ridgecrest. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's terrible and awful all at the same time. I'll offer my shop to host the staging, and don't tell the Chamber of Commerce that we're known as the nation's dustiest community. That, by the way, the series ended before that episode was ever filmed, but it's sort of funny. And this picture's still up there on the wall in my shop there. I think they do. In fact, there was a little film done recently, Resurrecting Monk. Everybody was much older.
I appreciate Monk, but I'll still go with Galaxy Quest. So, okay, thank you, Megan. Next is City Org Committee. That's myself and Mr. Gorman.
Did we have a city back then?
Yeah, we met last Thursday.
No, wasn't that quality of life?
No, City Org was last Thursday. Quality of Life was yesterday.
Oh, there, it's tough to get old.
No, it's okay. We're all doing it. City Org was last week. We got a recap on where most of our trash items are, where we're continuing to move forward with some of the different grant opportunities. I wanted to highlight one that I don't know that has been said from the dais, and we learned in 2023 we really like to share things from committee on the dais, and it makes for fun conversations. But one of them is we applied for a grant, and I really want to commend Megan and our administrative staff for having creative ideas. So the round 2 grants for the implementation of SB 1383, one of the grants allows for us to apply again, and this time we've applied to purchase a refrigerated truck for the Salvation Army. That was what our effort is. And a lot of people go, well, why is an effort like that so important? It's to allow them to reclaim food. So banquets, events where they have lots of excess food, and we have people that are going hungry or in need of the community. They can take their refrigerated truck, go out there, pick up the trays, refrigerate it all, bring it back, and be able to provide it as a safe, repackaged opportunities for recycling food. And that goes in line with SB 1383's goals of reducing organics in our landfills. So I just want to commend the city for being creative and using a local organization to make the best possible scenario for Ridgecrest. Once again, Ridgecrest is always at its best when it's taking care of Ridgecrest. And to put it simply, when Gina Noble heard about this, I think Gina is already a very happy and excited person, but I saw a whole lot of excited and happy out of her that day. And so I think that's a brilliant thing. The rest of it was largely where we're going with trash. Trash seems to be dying down in terms of people's challenges. We had somebody that presented a challenge, and once again, we're on it. We'll address it. We'll communicate it. We'll try to solve it. So if you do have a problem, if there's a challenge, if the challenge is you just want weekly service again, I'll listen, but it's probably not going to change anytime soon. But if you're having a challenge with waste management, with pickups or billing, they did notify us that they did make an error in billing. I believe it showed up in social media that they sent about 500 customers an incorrect letter. I'm good with the number, right? Okay. And they have reached back out to those customers in a digital way, but maybe not in a physical paper way. And we were going to ask to make sure that they're notified. But overall, the message for the community is, if you should have gotten a letter indicating that you were not being billed properly at the beginning of early January, those letters were sent in error. Waste Management will be happy to speak with you. If you have any problems in contacting or resolving it, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to work with you. But you also may ignore the letter. They are already fixing the situation. So if you got something that said you have to do something, you may ignore it. If you have an issue and you need us to help you, we'll be happy to help. Anything else from City Org, Mr. Gorman? No? Okay, sir. Economic development.
Yes, we did meet. Oh, sorry. Yep. We met on the 5th of February. So we talked, it was a quick meeting, but the highlights are, we know that March 14th, East Kern Economic Alliance is going to be here in town. I believe that's the Welcome Center. Tentatively, we'll see about the location, but we know that that'll be in Ridgecrest. And I wanted to go back and highlight again, February 24th, is the Ridgecrest City Nights. ICSC is coming up in May. That's something that you usually have a council member or two, planning commissioner go, Ron Strand. So if somebody else would like to go, speak up.
I would love to go once, but I really think that consistency in the person that they're meeting is really important. And so I nominate Mr. Blades to continue to travel as they have learned, well, okay, hold on, let me blow some smoke here. They have learned what an incredible council member this man is. And he has been for the last several years for our community. And I hope that he continues to be for many more years. And I would certainly say I hope that you continue to choose to represent us.
It's a good experience. I've learned a lot going. The first year was overwhelming. Second year, you get more and more used to it. The conversations get a little bit easier. It's a different kind of environment, but it's good for the community. I won't say that I'm always going to wish that every single one of these businesses come to Ridgecrest, but I know that we are asked as a council to constantly go out and be searching and looking and casting the net. So we'll keep doing that. Balsam, there's the construction on Balsam. I ran into Travis, our public works director. He told me that we should see the sewer line work be done by the end of February, but I try to never hold my breath with construction, right? Because you just never know what construction crews are going to run into underneath streets, what's going to happen, what's going to go wrong. But a big asterisk on that. You have anything to add, Solomon?
We talked about farmers market and what it is.
We did discuss the farmers market. It's a lot of it's still up in the air. It's moving. It's fluid. The city staff has a lot to learn and flush out. There's discussions about different days, whether it's on Wednesday nights or Saturdays. There's all a lot to be figured out still, but it is the intention of the city staff to facilitate a farmer's market either on Balsam or in a different location. So that is coming, but the exact details just have to be hammered out. Yeah, so when we did discuss the banner program, but I think that's just delayed for a little bit, if I remember the conversation. Yeah, until the sewer work is complete and Balsam's back to operating as it once was. Okay, that's all I got.
Anything else? Nope. On the economic outlook, just one more small note is, I'll do it later. I'll do it when we get to that meeting. Next, parks, recreation, quality of life. Mr. Gorman.
I'll start. I'll pass it to you as
Yay.
the Smothers Brothers did on stage. We typically settle in for these committee meetings, which are informal and quiet. I was all ready for Wind in the Willows and the sound of crickets, and a group showed up, group of military men. We talked a little bit about the pool, and then it looked like the skipper had something to say. So we listened. Take it, Eric.
Well, let's be clear. Parks, recreation, and quality of life is just that, quality of life. And we know that we have a challenge right now that impacts all of our quality of life in the challenges that the hospital is facing at this time. I commend Skipper, and I commend everybody who's getting involved in this process to raise communication, do what they can, and support our hospital through this process. We've had regular meetings with the hospital administration. We are working on many different avenues or things to resolve. The key element here is to understand that economic decisions made by the state have lingering effects. And the decisions made to provide medical benefits, to provide additional resources and everything else through what was a very interesting pandemic period has shifted now to a economic challenge for this hospital that it must resolve, or it will be extraordinarily at challenge to operate. I believe that the team is organized and well organized, and I think the team that came out to Quality of Life, because what they were really looking for, and this is sad, guys, is they wanted to see what the public outcry was. And there wasn't any. That's what they're looking for, is they were looking for what the public outcry was. And they asked, what do you mean? I said, we get more public at a council meeting. Please come out. If there's public comments, is there a place for people to, there's always a place for people to communicate with this council. It's a matter of, do they? The key is, what I want our citizens to hear, and I stress this as loudly as I can, I understand that everybody wants to have a solution in 5 minutes to a problem. This is not a 5-minute solution type problem. They have an obligation to notify that these things are potentially closing, and to notify that these steps are being taken, and to notify that these things are happening. And that's in order to make sure that we have adequate time to work to have those corrective steps or to make those corrective actions. And they're working on many of those goals right now. But I recognize and appreciate the citizens' frustration, and what can I do? My answer is continue to listen, continue to communicate, and when we ask for your support, get involved. It's that simple. We haven't said it yet because we haven't came to you with an ask yet. When we do, I ask that you respond. That will be our ask. So that was Quality of Life. We did talk a lot about the pool. The pool is making great progress. I had met with a citizen before this meeting, and he asked me to reiterate some things about the pool that he thought just weren't quite publicly aware, which is, the pool is at 60% of completion in terms of design. We hope to be at 99% completion by the beginning of April. I'm hoping he's at 99%, I guess is more like the communication. We definitely are looking to break ground during the summer and hopefully to a summer 2025 opening. That's our goal. It is a 3-pool system. We will be bringing the bonding information to this council most likely in March. The bonds were attractive. They weren't bad, which was great. And we think we've got a good fiscal and financial strategy for paying for this pool and getting it done, and within the estimates that our consultants are telling us. I think it'll be a gem for this community when we clean up what the garbage is in what was Helmers Park and the old Boys and Girls Club and clean up that area. I think it'll look like a gem. And the only other thing that Narissa very wisely is asking for to be put in the budget. Actually, I got to talk about 2 things in the budget. The first one is she is requesting in the budget for the design for the inclusive playground to be completed in advance of the funding. And that's so that if we have an opportunity to do that project due to a funding source or a grant opportunity or something we can find, that if we can possibly get that project done at the same time we're doing all the other work in Freedom Park and the pool area, that would be the best possible scenario. So everyone out there says, why do they build something, then break it apart and take it? Well, sometimes the money isn't there and we got to plan accordingly. So we're planning. And the second was, I want to share that If anybody's been over to Pearson Park, and everyone was, why'd you close the park for 3 months? Guys, we were doing something. And here's what we were doing. We were learning how to treat soil in the desert. And so what we did is we had so much density of water there, and we were going to have to reseed the entire area in order to understand what the conditions were, that we used that opportunity to bring in Central Valley soil and place it as the base and to work with our seedlings and work for what the things are that we need to learn about doing our fields. And what we found is our water is highly alkanated. It's got a high pH level. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows it comes from the ground, that's what heavy alkaline water usually is. And when you put that onto grass, it has a tendency, if it's a bad pH balance, to kill it. And that's why you get the rock hard desert dirt we're all familiar with. Well, what we did is by bringing in the topsoil and treating it and looking through this process, we've learned a lot. And I think we're going to be able to put into action in some of our other fields, hopefully, through the 24-25 budget. And I hope to see some of those things happening. Guys, if you ever think that it falls on deaf ears, that, our fields suck, or this doesn't look good, or that doesn't look, we have always been, first and foremost, at our best, trying to make our best efforts. The great part is now we're starting to be creative, which is, how do you make lemonade out of lemons? They're all squeezed in the middle of a park, and you've got 4 inches of water to deal with. Let's start figuring out how the grass grows. So, looks great. Thank you. Those are 2 awesome opportunities. That's the bulk of the quality of life, and I will shut up at that point. Next, finance. Oh, good. I don't have to talk about this one. We haven't met yet. Infrastructure. Hasn't met yet. I'm sorry. Was there any questions for quality of life? I apologize. I didn't ask any of the council members if they had any questions. I see.
No, just real quick. I've had members of the public ask, and you just gave a pretty good synopsis of where we are with the pool, but I have had a few people say, hey, where are we at? So is there any plan, any future date to present at a council meeting on just a few slides on this is where we're at with the pool, the design?
We are, I believe, working towards the first meeting of April to have the consultants here with council with the 90% plus design final plans to show the council with direction then to go into construction documents. I believe that will be happening the first meeting of April, assuming that we can get those details lined up. And I believe we're currently targeting bringing the bond to the council the second meeting of March. And those would work in kind of second meeting in March for the bond. Yes. Okay. I think so. Does that answer? And anybody has any questions about the pool? I mean, pick up the phone. Send me an email. Ask. I promise you'll get pictures and responses faster than you like, probably. Other committees, boards, or commissions? None? Okay, I attended the Cal Cities Desert Mountain Division last Friday. That was the first time we'd been there in a couple months, and it was good. It was really interesting because I think Desert Mountain Division, Cal Cities had a bigger role with previous councils in some ways, and we've taken a more diminished role. And it was interesting talking to them, and what their roles are and what they're looking for. And in the conversation, they said, what have you been doing? And I really kind of was able to proudly say, we've been working on Ridgecrest. And it was the best answer I could offer. What have you been doing? We're working on Ridgecrest. And they are going to come out and visit us. We are going to host the Desert Mountain Division on September 20th. I may have a conversation with Megan about what you guys do at EKEA. That might be an option. I was also looking at maybe the USO building. And then hopefully, the goal being the September 20th for a big reason is I hope that we can bring a group of other civic leaders and have a big old scooper scooping some land out of a pool site so that I can show them. That's our goal. That's what I'm hoping to be able to show them, and we'll hopefully get the base over to show a presentation on all the work that's been done in the base reconstruction. No other committees. City manager report. Okay, Commander-in-Chief.
I have nothing at this time, sir.
Never waste a moment to speak. Future agenda items. Any future agenda items? No. Mayor, council comments. We'll go left to right since Kyle, he's got a month's worth of backlog to get going here. So, Suraj Ratnam.
I want to thank the city staff for their good job always, and appreciate and thanks Sherry for stepping up and being the city manager for this week. Thank you.
Doc.
I just want to thank Chief Scott for your service and your work and stepping up and helping us out. And I'm glad to hear you're not going anywhere. But thank you, sir. Yep.
Ditto, everybody to my left, plus, if I may, this came up in my brain when he mentioned the USO building. I don't know if anybody in this room has been here long enough to remember when the volunteer fire department horn went off periodically in the dead of the night. Nobody? And when we first moved out here, long time ago, I think over 50 years, in the middle of the night, there was this racket, like a foghorn. And it was tooting in a code. And I later found out that this is the volunteer fire department's horn to declare that there's a fire somewhere. And if you'll listen to the code, you'll know, perhaps in polar coordinates, which direction to go, how far. You'll find a fire, deal with it. And over time, that became a reassuring sound that there was a group of local heroes who on our behalf would pull on their boots, climb into their pickup trucks, and deal with an issue threatening the community. And I liked that sound overall, and it stopped quietly, and you're oblivious to when things fade out, I suppose. And I did notice, though, that the horn was on top of the roof of the USO building, along with crawl under your desk nuclear alert air raid siren horn. But when they put the new roof on the USO building, they tossed the horn off the roof and it laid in the dirt behind the building for some time before somebody over there grabbed me by the collar and said, "Skip, can you put this in your truck and take it to your shop and resurrect it?" And I was pleased to. It was broken, it was metal, and that's what I do. So I did, and indeed it's standing proudly by the old fire station in the street just behind the USO building. What street is that?
I was going to say
That sounds right. Yeah, it turns out the horn itself was either brass or copper. Once you get down to the metal, it was pretty. And I studied it. I took it completely apart. And it's functional. We even found the air compressor in the USO building. If you get up on stage and look at the roof, you'll see a bulge. That's the air compressor. And the sequencer, though, we couldn't find. I was looking for that stuff with the idea of resurrecting it, putting it back on the roof, and allowing it to sound off perhaps once a month in its staccato code to, as a community building exercise in acoustics, to allow us that same reassurance that there are still local heroes who pull on their boots, get in their pickup trucks, and do what needs to be done on our behalf. One of the joys of being on the council, I found out, is you get to go to ribbon cuttings. And I went to a ribbon cutting of the very impressive Peggy Rogers building on base. That was followed up by another one of the Michelson Lab. And driving by the on-base fire station, I had to put on my brakes and gasp, because on top of the tall tower associated with the base fire station, where they hang their wet hoses, was one of those horns. It's got a name, diaphone, Granville diaphone, I think it's called. And there it was, hokey smokes. I pulled off the truck, I walked into the fire station, woke a couple of guys up, and wanted to talk about the horn on top of the tower. And they didn't even know there was one. But one of them climbed up a ladder, visited the horn, took a picture of it for me. It's the same type of horn. They're very rare. And our horn on top of the USO building will never be functional because there's a little floating V8 juice sized aluminum piston of a very complex design that must be inside the horn. And ours had turned to dust. It was up there in the heat for too long. I don't know if the horn on top of the base fire station is still functional. I put in a request that we all get together and talk about it so I could learn. And maybe since you guys haven't used it since Hector was a pup, maybe we can swing a deal. I'd have to get the blessings of everybody on this end. But I took advantage of the skipper's presence the other night to pass him my card and say, I'd like to talk to the fire chief if I may. I don't know if he heard me because 3 or 4 other people were trying to talk to him at the same time. So that's my news. Lake will be gone or whatever. That's it.
Thank you, sir. I have just a few final comments. First and foremost, our meetings must be becoming at least somewhat reasonably entertaining because we have guests that stayed throughout the entire without having to be public speakers or public commenters. So that's a great sign because if you notice, typically we'll get somebody makes a public comment and then they seem to exit the meeting. Especially after they come in and make some, some type of baseless claim or something. They'll come in, throw their tomahawk at me and then try to, no. Sorry, but it's the reality. So first, Chief, thanks again. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming back and for serving us in a capacity that we really, I think, may have been a big step in the back office for the department in ways that we don't fully understand. And so we greatly appreciate that. I want to also mention that we will be meeting on the 21st, so we'll be reminding everyone about the Economic Outlook Conference. But how are you going to get tickets the night before for something that happens the next morning? So make sure that you get your tickets, be involved in the Economic Outlook Conference. I want to throw a shout out to Mr. Ciani. I got a kick out of your editorial this week, and your challenge has been accepted. He said, I don't know why there's not a State of the City address, and I can promise you that my address at EOC has on slide number 1, State of the City, and we will address it from that perspective. So thank you for encouraging us to do that. And our hope is that we make that part of Economic Outlook Conference, is that we are actually providing to the citizens an opportunity for a State of the City. We will also be hopefully recording it and hopefully being able to share it. Once again, that is communication. And in that the lovely work that's being done behind the scenes to make me look awesome, they have worked on a slide that just shows how communication has changed between the city and the community in the last 3 years. And I think a few people will be blown away to see the number of engagements and communications and what we're doing as a community now, engaging the citizens and getting their inputs. It was pretty remarkable, the numbers. When you put that alongside all that we've accomplished in the last 12 months, 2023 was a banner year. I want to equally extend, as Mr. Blades did, please come out to our first Ridgecrest City Nights. That'll be here at the so Ridgecrest City Nights means you're at City. Night on Balsam means you're on Balsam. Obviously we started with Night on Balsam. We wanted to be back on Balsam. We were testing some ideas. And out of that came 6 beautiful events. So we have 6 events planned for this year. all the way up to our tree lighting, which is already in the planning stages at this time. Going back to my planning conversation, the city staff has taken that and is really running with the idea of we plan, we prepare, and then we knock it out of the park because we're working as a team. It's been wonderful to see. Finally, I want to go ahead and not address the issue, but simply say that in this community, the best part about our community is its citizens, and it's in how those citizens work together, unite, donate, contribute, all the above to the fabric that makes our community. And so when I see somebody put a sign against a gift that was given to the city, or a sign against a piece of art that I proudly purchased from an artist to represent my city, I understand. They may have that opinion, and I respect that they have that right to that opinion. And if they feel that it's litigious, then I can't stop that decision. But I don't think it's appropriate for us to go digging into a survey of the community to see what they dislike about something. Our job is to provide services and to protect this community, and I think we'll keep on doing that. Mr. Gorman, thank you for your contributions to this community. With that, I wish you all an adieu, and I did make sure I went over to 7:31, so whoever had the 31, I did that intentionally if there was a bet. Have a great evening. We'll see you again on the 21st.